You know, sometimes it's tough like getting hands-on like an early prototype level electric car, and it's not very good, and you don't want to be too mean, and obviously if it's too discouraging, you know, people worked really hard on this, but then you realize that's why I'm here, is to be honest about stuff like this. And so let's get started with this review. This is Lexus's new EV. So this is an early look at ES350e, a fully electric executive sedan from Lexus. In late prototype form. It's about to come out. This is a front-wheel drive electric car, single motor, so about 220 horsepower, and it's got a 75 kilowatt-hour battery rated for around 250 miles of range, and it's priced around $60,000, a little over as tested. So two things with this video. One, it's actually kind of, I don't know if you can tell from shooting on this iPhone, it's kind of red outside. There's wildfires from Canada blowing smoke down here, and the AQI is at like 180. It looks like Mars out here. So it kind of looks a little different. That's one. Two, this is partially a review of this car, which is still technically a prototype, but also, and this is honest feedback for you, Lexus, this is me walking through how to tell when a car manufacturer genuinely does not care about their electric car. Because there are so many of the telltale classic signs in this car, and I've talked about this before with Toyota, where you look at it and you're like, wait, this is supposed to be the best version, the electric version, and sadly they're not taking advantage of the things that they could by making it electric. And it's a bummer because, I mean, this is one of the types of vehicles that should be best to go electric, right? A big, full like sedan with a lot of space, 4 doors. They're the executive sedan, so they want it to be even smoother and quieter and have a ton of space inside and be efficient and get massive range and all that and the luxury experience. But this is a car that's genuinely difficult to recommend to anyone, unfortunately. And so I'll walk through those things and show you why. So starting at the front here, there's no real shockers at the front. This is pretty classic. It's obviously a Lexus, and it is the electric version of the ES, which can block off way more of the front grille and leave what little ventilation they need at the bottom. Nice headlight design. This looks like a lot of other Lexuses. Nothing too crazy here. But I will note that that is not a front trunk. There is no storage in there, which would have been nice in a big EV with a ton of space. But again, they don't really seem to care much about this car, so that's not shocking to me either. You get around the sides, it's got these big wheels, and again, the ES series from Lexus has been around for a long time, so I'm expecting the electric, you know, executive sedan stuff that we've seen from other companies, but, you know, big wheels, these aero efficient handles, obviously, sort of an aero feature here, not really the most dramatic thing in the world, but at least interesting to look at from the side. It kind of still looks like a Lexus. You got that little fin at the top, but then you get to the back and still looks more like Lexus. So full tail bar across the back, which is nice. ES350e, which is electric. And then we get in the back here. Of course, the key is in my pocket, so hopefully it wants to open. But there's the key. Hold it to open the tailgate. And yes, it is power opening, and that is a massive trunk. So a big thumbs up to this amount of storage. Obviously you can pop this up and take your cables and put them under there, but even more storage over to the side, like that is nice. So fundamental spacing, okay, I can give that a thumbs up. But then of course for autofocus, you know the drill. We got to get into the driver's seat and see what it's like to live with this car like I have been. A little bit of a pause. I'll get back to the door handle from the inside in a second, but a little bit of a pause to open that door. You get in and right away it's familiar Lexus / Toyota. Like, this is not going to shock anybody. But then you start to get into the fact that this is the EV over the other versions of the ES. So there's a power button to bring this car to life. Foot on the brake, hit power. The steering wheel lowers, the seat moves forward, everything lights up, the computers turn on, it chimes a few times. I don't mind that. That's something a lot of companies are doing just to make it feel kind of still like a gas car, where you remember you have to turn it on and off. I wish you didn't have to do that, but now we're here. And you've got this display, this really small kind of basic display behind the driver's steering wheel, and then this display in the center here, which has all the Toyota software, but also wireless CarPlay, which I pretty much immediately put on, and it's a nice big wireless CarPlay too, so that's nice to see. Interior materials are nice. This is the highlight of this car. As I was driving it around, feeling the leather of like how soft the steering wheel is and how soft these seats are. These are ventilated seats as well. This is a really nice place to sit. But then you start using the car and you realize how many of the electric car benefits are missing. Storage is like the telltale sign number one. When I'm driving an electric car and I see this huge center storage console, which is typically seen in gas cars because you have an engine in the front and you need to fit, a drivetrain and a transmission and things through the back. When I see this, I know that they weren't working very hard to make this the better electric version. This is the same thing as the gas car. There's nothing open. I mean, there's a look at this, tiny little bit of space down here, but who's putting things under here? Like, make this a little bit more open like the rest of the competition is. I do like that this is flipping open on both sides. That's nice. But here's telltale sign number two. You see this hump down here in the middle in the back? Why is that there? If I'm a backseat passenger in an electric car, I'm expecting the best backseat experience possible, especially in an executive sedan where you're gonna have people sitting back here getting driven around and enjoying the experience. Look at all this legroom. This is super nice. Why is this huge tunnel here? This is where the transmission or some sort of drive shaft or something will go in an all-wheel drive car. This is a front-wheel drive EV with motors over there. This should be flat. That is another one of those telltale signs where I go, oh, they didn't care that much. Now again, the materials are still a highlight back here. They're super nice. Like whenever you see these shades up here and the shade in the back, oh, that's how you know. That's how you know they're taking good care of you. And then it's an executive back seat, so like you have this seat on the right, seat on the left, but they don't expect people to sit in the middle, which is why you have this big, beefy center armrest, which has all of your HVAC controls that light up. You have your cup holders here, and also even controls over the seat. So there's a, look at this. There's a little footrest or a calf rest on these back seats here, which is, I mean, that is sweet. This is the type of stuff I expect from a more premium priced Lexus. So it's a nice place to be. I like that. But if I'm buying this, personally, I'm gonna be driving it. So let's get back to the driving experience. So as I mentioned, front wheel drive, electric car. Working with about 220 horsepower here. Not quick in any way, unfortunately. Now, it rides very well. When we talk about driving in a car that's tuned to be super soft like this, it rides over potholes super nicely. That is another highlight of driving this car. It's soft. So I like driving it around in a very cruisy, chill type of way. But when you do want to merge onto the highway or you do want to get up a little bit, this car doesn't do that. It really does not want to do that. You can switch it to sport mode and get a little bit more pep in its step. Weirdly, switching to sport mode is like going into vehicle, I forgot exactly how, yeah, drive performance, and then up here, drive mode. And then these text descriptions still feel like they're tuned for the gas car, like sport. So watch this. This LED lighting all lights up when I hit sport. This turns red, that goes red, this goes red for a second. That's really cool. But transmission shifts at a higher RPM. What are you talking about? This is an EV. Anyway, that's how you get the little bit of a quicker response from the accelerator pedal at lower speeds, but it still has no pep. It feels like a Nissan Leaf anywhere over 40 miles an hour, which for 60 grand, not great. And then the range is also not that good. So down here you'll see, I'm working with 154 miles of range at 63% battery. Driving it around, you'll get 220 to 240 miles of range, and it is a very honest range estimate. I will give it credit for that. But under 300 miles of range for 60 grand in 2026, not very efficient. You can tell that they didn't care. There's also no one pedal driving in this car, which I know I've seen people talk about. They don't like that I keep complaining about lack of one pedal driving in cars, especially like the Porsches and the Macans of the past, but I'm gonna keep it up because it should at least be an option. In this car, you can bump these paddle shifters down to change the amount of regen, which is really convenient, and you can max out the regen to max out your driving efficiency. But then when you come up to a stoplight or a red light and you let fully off and you start slowing down, it'll slow down to like 3 to 5 miles an hour and doesn't actually stop. You still have to put your foot on the brake. Is that trying to feel like a gas car? Maybe. Or is that just not caring enough to put a one pedal driving mode in? Also maybe. It's funny, being in this car and using it and driving it, it's having the opposite effect of what it probably should, which is it's making me understand how the gas versions, like the 6-cylinder or 4-cylinder hybrid versions of the ES, are probably much nicer cars. Because again, the creature comforts are all here. It's got this sunroof that can vent or open. It's got a little HUD in front of me that is very visible. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's there. It's got a camera for a rear view mirror. It's funny, when I put this car in reverse with this little shifter down here, this little shade goes down so I can see behind me. But I never use it because it's always on camera mode. So when I put it back in drive, that shade comes back up. So it's doing all the creature comfort stuff. It's got these nice speakers. It is very quiet inside. You've got your seat controls up front. That's one of those telltale signs of an electric car. It's doing the nice Lexus executive sedan thing. But it has zero of the benefits of being an electric car. It is smooth and quiet, yes, but it is a pitiful range, especially compared to the hybrid version. It is just as expensive, and it is not giving me more storage in the center. It's not giving me a front trunk. It's not giving me the lack of a tunnel in the middle seat. Maybe no one's ever going to sit in the middle, in the back of an executive sedan. But it just feels like they didn't care about making this the best possible electric car. But anyway, okay, some last little tiny things that I've noticed about this car. One, this is another one of those steering wheels that I wish had a play pause button for the media controls on the wheel itself. You can see all the cruise control stuff over on the right. That's normal. Oh, look, another Lexus. It's probably really nice inside. Then on the left, it is your media controls, volume up, down, and track forward, back, but no play pause. That's actually all the way over here in the middle, which is if you just hit this button in. So it's normally a volume rocker, but you hit this button in to play pause. I wish that was on the steering wheel too. That would have been nice. You'll also notice this sort of outdated little screen back here. It gets the job done, but it's nothing special. I noticed that when I put my foot on the brake or lift off regen, it shows that those lights light up. And that's really cool to see. I get a representation of my car from the outside, and I know when people see brake lights. But it doesn't show blinkers. I hit the blinkers, and it has these very, very quiet, this is a funny combination, very, very quiet blinker. You can barely hear that while you're driving. And so because it doesn't show it on this car, it's kind of easy to forget if the blinker stays on that it's on. That's just a tiny little thing. Maybe Lexus doesn't mind that too much. These are haptic buttons that have a little bit of a click. So in case you were wondering, this isn't just like a touch button. These are actually pushing in and pushing out, so that's nice. And then over here, this door latch requires you to pull it twice to actually open the door. It actually says it on here, pull it twice to open the door. Why? I don't know. Why not just one latch like basically every other car I've driven? And then you have to go over and turn the car off with the power button here. Look, it's a nice car to drive around town, to commute in, etc. But the fact that there are other versions of this car that are a gas version that are better when it's supposed to be the other way around, that makes it basically impossible to recommend this EV when there are others that compete that are better at it. And it's a shame. I wish they'd cared more about the Lexus EV to make a really good one. Maybe that's Toyota for you. Anyway, now you know what to look for in case you're checking out an EV to know if they care or not. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.